Today is Monday, February 10th, and this is the ADM Investor Services Weekly Market Kickoff. Please note that the views and opinions expressed here today are solely those of our guests and should not be construed as views of ADM Investor Services or ADM. Today's guests are Steve Freed, Vice President of Grain Research at ADMIS, and Alan Bush, ADM Investor Services Senior Financial Economist. Steve, start with the grain markets this morning. What is the impact of the coronavirus on grain and oilseed futures?
Soybean prices have dropped almost $1. Corn is in a trading range between $3.70 and $3.90, and we can't break out of that. And wheat, we rallied earlier in the year, but we pulled back about 30 to 40 cents. And I think half of the pullback or lack of up trade is probably due to the virus and concern about lower GDP and lower demand for ag goods.
What did the managed futures fund money do last week as the spread of the virus continued?
They had one of the most active weeks in this year so far, and last year they sold 114,000 contracts of grains and oilseeds. They increased their short in corn and reduced their long in soybean oil. I think they're concerned about demand.
Not sure that this matters or not, Steve, but can you provide our viewers with your expectations for tomorrow's USDA World Supply and Demand Report?
It could be a nothing report. The USDA had said earlier that they might try to plug in the impact of the Phase 1 deal in U.S. exports, and also maybe that might affect the carryout, might bring it down. But the problem is that the U.S. trade representatives did not give them, the USDA, the list of what China agreed to buy or when. And so now there's talk about China trying to delay purchases because of infrastructure problems. Grain, trucks aren't even moving inside of China because of the fear of people contracting the virus. So we don't expect them to do very much tomorrow until they actually see China buying.
Finally, Steve, I know it's early to discuss, but what is the latest weather forecast for the U.S. spring and summer?
Our weather consultant came out with a report overnight that says that we're going to have a wet, cool spring, but not as bad as last year, and a dry, warm summer. And again, not as bad as like 2012, but the closer we move to La Nina, the higher chance of a warm and dry summer.
Alan, a coronavirus question for you. How aggressively will central banks react to the negative economic implications of the virus?
Well, first of all, coming into this year, the feeling was that central banks would remain on hold or maybe be a bit more accommodative. Of course, now with the coronavirus as a very important influence, it appears that all of the major central banks, to one degree or another, are going to ease credit, and that would include the Fed.
The U.S. dollar advanced to a 4-month high today. Why is the greenback so strong?
Well, even though the Fed is most likely going to lower rates this year, probably in September at that meeting then, in fact, there's a 71% chance that the Fed will be cutting by 25 basis points at that meeting. But other central banks, I believe, are going to be more aggressive in easing credit to one degree or another. So by comparison, the Fed may be less aggressive than other central banks, and that is a recipe for funds to flow into the dollar as compared to funds flowing elsewhere in the world. So I'm predicting that the dollar will continue to advance. My next objective is 99.50, and that would be 100 points higher from where we are currently trading.
Lastly, Alan, what's your read on the stock index futures currently?
Well, stock index futures took a bit of a break on the coronavirus situation, but has come back rather impressively. In fact, even today there was some more negative news on coronavirus, and stock index futures were lower. But very quickly, the stock index futures advanced and are higher on today. So I'm holding to my view that stock indices, at least here in the U.S., will be higher on the quarter. So these markets are very impressive and performing very well at a time where the news could have been very negative and could have kept this market down.
Thank you both. Remember, the views and opinions expressed today on this video are solely those of our guests and should not be construed as the views or opinions of ADM Investor Services or ADM. If you'd like more information about our brokerage services, like to speak to one of our experts about managing your risks, or would like to open a trading account, please visit www.admis.com.